Hi, this is Maury Moreland Morrison, here to tell you Geico has more than just great savings. Much more. Geico's been around for more than 75 years, back when they were using Morse code. Sorry, that's just my sense of humor. What's more, with Geico you get 24/7 access to licensed agents on the app, online, or over the phone, so you can talk to them at night or in the morning. So forevermore, just know that no other auto insurer has more than Geico. More power to you. Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
You're tuning in to the Goldilocks presentation of the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show with Anthony Rodriguez. Anthony Rodriguez, aka Walking Crow, found transformational energy healing through a personal search into healing and was transformed by this experience. He made the decision to pursue training and has since become a certified energy healing practitioner with an emphasis on working with clients in recovery from addiction. His willingness to be open and listen has allowed him to be of service to many who seek a peaceful, serene, and healthier body, mind, and spirit. Call in now if you would like to speak with Anthony. The call-in number is 713-955-0332. Enjoy this transformational and healing show.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Anthony Rodriguez, Walking Crow, and welcome to the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show for Tuesday, January 31st. We're glad to have you back. We missed you since last week, and we look forward to having you back next week. I'm already running. Anyway, well, thank you for coming. And just real quick, if you want to reach out to me at any point after the show today, I'm going to give my information. You can reach me at my phone, 818-442-1717, or Sacred Drum Meditation, or excuse me, Anthony at sacreddrummedicine.com. I apologize for my fumbling. I'm excited about having our guest on today. My teacher, my friend, teacher, master, shaman, Jeanne Love, who is an incredible healer, an incredible shaman, a credible medium. Wow, what more can I say? But before I get into giving you a little bit about Jeanne, I want to thank Ingrid Turner on the Partnership with Spirit show earlier today at 11 o'clock. You can listen to it through the archives. And we talked about spirit and recovery, and it was a great panel with Steve and oh my gosh, I'm going blank on the other lady. Never fails. Never fails. But anyways, look into that show and listen to it. If you are in recovery, or if you have trouble with some sort of addiction in your life, or some sort of problem that maybe it become too much for you to handle, check into that show on a Partnership with Spirit show with Ingrid Turner. And that was today at 11 o'clock, and it's in the archives. And so moving forward, friend, teacher, master shaman, Jeanne Love. She was raised a Quaker, educated at the University of the Pacific and Whittier College. Jeanne Love speaks and lives her training of peaceful coexistence, feeling the presence of spirit as a very young child. Jeanne has spent her life seeking to know God and to understand the earth world, as well as to help herself and others manifest the flow of spiritual balance and expression of God's love and grace. Jeanne has been studied by scientists in Palo Alto, California, working on the phenomenon of channeling, and subsequently written about in John Kilmo's book, Channeling. She has participated in the Native American ceremonies, written about passages of those who have left this earth world, written songs to promote healing and awakening, held numerous workshops, private sessions, and lectures to help promote the awakening of consciousness to its higher purpose and potential. She is international in scope, as she has worked in Europe, Japan, and Canada. Through her many and varied experiences, Jeanne has remained true to her Quaker roots, that of God is within us all. Miss Love is now moving forward with her latest offerings for spiritual mastery through the use of various spiritual tools such as EFT and the Ho'oponopono. more importantly, she has developed a specific set of tools to transform the energy systems of the body, mind, and soul, releasing past trauma, suffering, and deep-seated concerns, which seem to plague so many of us in this challenging world. In Jeanne's own words, there is nothing too big or too small which cannot be overcome by the gentle willingness of one's spirit to seek understanding, guidance, and pure heart. It is about the greatest power we have to claim our healing, and in doing so, eliminate the power of judgment, turning instead to the power of unconditional love and forgiveness. I love that. To live an inspired life, one must release all that no longer serves our highest good, forgiving and releasing all the past which has captured us, keeping us prisoners of our own making. Through the power of love, all things are possible. That is such a beautiful statement by Jeanne Love. And in that, I'd like to welcome Jeanne Love to the show and just say, hello, Jeanne, welcome to the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show. How are you today?
Well, good afternoon, Anthony. I hope you're hearing me okay. This is a new modern thing for me.
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday to you. I'm so honored and flattered. It's such a wonderful introduction. I mean, I might have to do this more often.
It's good for the ego and good for the soul. So, Jeanne, you and I have been friends for a few years. I want to say about 3 years, and mostly for the last couple of years. And I am so appreciative of I want to say your mentorship, sponsorship, friendship, and just the time that we've been able to spend together. I learned so much from you, in my own way. And sometimes it's just in simple conversation that I'm able to hear so much when you're speaking. And it's like that with all my teachers. But there's something, you have such a gentle spirit. It's like I'm soothed instantly, and I want to thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. It's always nice to have an audience, Anthony. I would be nothing if nobody wanted to listen, so thank you.
Did you say I would say nothing if nobody wanted to listen?
Yeah, I would be nothing if no one wanted to listen to me. I mean, I could talk to you, but if there was nobody, what is that thing about if the tree falls in the forest?
Absolutely. So, Jeanne, tell us a little about yourself. I just read your bio, but tell us something that maybe that's not in there that you would want us to know, because I know quite a bit about you, but there's a lot about you I don't know. So maybe there's something that I can get some insight from with what you would have to say over the next couple of minutes or so, or however long.
Well, whenever you have to write a bio for yourself, first of all, you have to kind of disengage from the personality and look at the overview of who you are and where you're going. And having to write a bio really forces you to bring your work into a small, compact description. And yet it always has to leave something out about what you've been doing. And everything that is in there is absolutely true. From even that bio, things have developed into working with the sounds and working with the land. And it's really hard to put that into a concise description. But everything that I have learned over the years, I feel has directly led me and the group of people whom I work with to this point. We choose our families. We learn the lessons of families, good and bad, ugly and wonderful. Then we march on and forward and start to pick and choose our experiences, whether we realize it or not, to shape who we are in this world. And I had so many experiences, so many incredible experiences, that when I sit to recall them, I'm almost overwhelmed myself by the opportunities. But I do want to say a little bit, because we're very close to the 31st anniversary of the Shuttle Challenger explosion, that I have to mark that as one of the biggest moments of change in my life that shaped who I am now and where I'm headed. And I was trained, I'm an educator, I was a musician, I was going to be a professional musician, competed against that, and what happened was that I was trained by a wonderful minister and rescue work with those who passed. So when the shuttle exploded in 1986, January 28th, my husband and I at the time sat down in meditation to help, like so many others, these 7 souls over, to pray for their families, to pray for everybody who's involved with it. Well, a very long story short, we received communication directly from the 7 over a period of time, and from that, a series of events led us to government agencies, Senator Pell's office and his paranormal research department, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And because of that, my naivete began to shape itself into another spectrum of what the world really was like. And from there, my friends and I who worked with this project walked in a whole different world that was not consciously ever expected. And from that shaping, we really were exploring much, much more about energies, about the negative energies in the world, the PSYOPs program, and we became kind of a blight to the U.S. government. And so we kind of had to go underground because a lot of bad things started to happen when we were just trying to prove the continuation of life and the continuity and help people who were so sorrowful to have some kind of solace. So that was a big moment that maybe a lot of people don't know about, where I came from and what shaped that. And then everything else just evolved over years and years of doing this and that and listening to spiritual guides and being trained to do the energy work. So hope that gives you a little insight, Anthony.
That's amazing, because I've heard you talk about that before. You've told me about that before, and you've spoken about that in front of groups that I've been in. And, sometimes we find ourselves listening deeply, and sometimes we hear things and we're not, and it doesn't strike a chord. But today, for some reason, I really heard what you said, and it really struck a chord. And it's like, because, you think about the space shuttle exploding, and, well, that happened a long time ago. That's no big deal. But it's things like this, or just about anything else that affects people in a different way, or a person in a different way, and then they develop relationships and abilities and things that you would never imagine.
Exactly.
And now we can't live without.
Exactly. And because of our relationship with these 7 beautiful souls, our group here in the physical world, we continue to be in friendship with them, and they continue to help the process of the planet upgrading itself. They're very much light workers, and I think that's something that when, as you say, that happened a long time ago, but the magnitude of that event has led them as well as the physical people into the future of helping this planet move forward. And that's really important. I think that people forget sometimes the enormity of spirit and beings that are here trying to help us move forward in healing, as you said, healing the land, healing the energy systems, etc.
Now, you do a lot of work in healing the lands. I know you travel to the Midwest quite a bit. For me, quite a bit, because I never traveled to the Midwest. But you travel to the Midwest and you work on healing the lands. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Just tell me when I've talked too much, because it's a passion of mine. I have my dear soul sister, whose birthday is today. Happy birthday, Regina. She has a beautiful home up in the northwest corner of Nebraska, just 27 miles south of South Dakota. And I had never known really much about that area at all. My only experience through Nebraska was south of that, where it's really flat and plain and kind of ugly. Sorry, Nebraskans. But anyway, she got me up there 6 months after my daughter Kylene died. And my daughter Kylene died at the age of 31 in 2011. And my dear sister friend knew I needed some kind of respite. So she brought me up to her home and brought me into a new world. And I have to say that of all the darkness of losing the child, the brilliance of it was that it brought me into this new world up there. And so Regina slowly but surely introduced me to the area, the land, the people, the history, the stories. And the Native American energy up there, of course, that's where they film dances with wolves. The Badlands up there, the Black Hills are up there. It's where Wounded Knee is, Mount Rushmore, Crazy Horse Monument. And so a whole new story started to develop with the transition of my daughter. And I started to explore with her, with Regina, my friend, and with my group, what we were led to do up there, feeling like I had lived there. We all felt as if we had been there before. We felt the memories of being Native Americans. And one of the many blessings I received up there was being invited to a sun dance. And any of you that know the sun dance, it's not a powwow. They don't necessarily bring the white person or a non-Indian into that ceremony. And we were gifted that. There were just 4 of us, and it was just incredibly magnificent. If anybody has read the book Grandmother's Council of the World by Carol Schaefer, there are 2 grandmothers that live in Chadron, town that my friend's associated with. One of them, Beatrice Long Visitor, recently passed. Her sister is still there. And these 13 grandmothers from all over the world speak and have events and do a lot of ceremony in various areas to heal the land. What we had to understand was that whole area from like Devil's Tower in Wyoming all the way almost to Iowa and further south and north is the largest medicine wheel in North America. And so we've been led through steps and communication and all of our ceremonies to clear the land of all the inharmony and imbalance that had been there since the Indian Wars. And I learned the history of Fort Robinson, and that was a working fort, of course, where the military was in the 1800s, where they bought Crazy Horse, where they had the Red Cloud Agency and all of that. And so the pain and sorrow and suffering was still very prevalent and palatable, so we definitely worked with it. I apologize for my dog barking. We worked with that to clear the spirits, to send them over to the light, to bring some rest and peace through various just so many times when we worked energies and did meditations and cleared. And then one of the biggest highlights was going to Wounded Knee, which was such an intense experience the first time I was there. And then consequently, we went back the second time. But the whole time we were there, we were helping the spirits to move on, helping them to be free. And I don't have any Native American in me in this lifetime, but we've been embraced by the Native American community up there. Grateful that they've allowed us to have an impact and to help them work with the journey of healing. So that's what's been going on.
Well, all right. I want to remind real quick, Jeannie, the call. Those who are listening, if they want to call in 713-955-0332, and if you're listening on your phone, you can push 1 and to come out of listen mode, and you can ask questions of Jeannie or myself at any time. I'm part Tarumaran, and my people come from Chihuahua, Mexico, from the Copper Canyon. It's actually on my mother's side, and I never had any connection to any of that until the last 5 years when I stepped into my medicine work as an energy healer, and as I furthered along and became a drummer, shamanic drummer for another shaman, Sarah Eagle Woman, my life really started to transition and change into the spirit world in a way that I could never imagine, but always heard about. And and in my practice with my men's circle, where I do ceremony in San Fernando, we practice and we're sanctioned by a Lakota medicine man. So we practice a Lakota tradition. And a lot of this is foreign to me still. I'm still such a infant with regard to the medicine that I'm working with, and it really, my heart, my mind is blown every day. I wake up and I have the experience of life, and I try to walk in the way of balance. And you know, and being I want to say a native, you think that I would know more, and I just don't, because those ways were taken away from us, you know, from my parents and my grandparents and so on and so forth over the last couple of 100 years. You know, but you speak to that with regard to me whenever we talk, and you know, and I'm honored that you recognize what the medicine that I have in me, and I'm honored to be able to facilitate anything that I do, because you know, I'm such a newbie to what I'm doing, if you will.
Well, you know, what's interesting about the Lakota reference is that I also have worked with another shaman who has been taken into the Lakota tribe as a shaman and as a medicine man, and yet he's Japanese, but he looks like he is Lakota. And he was taken in by a chief recognizing his medicine. And what he has said to us in the times that we've shared time together is that the Lakota way, in terms of the prayers and the singing, is pretty universal with all the tribes, that it seems to be kind of the major language in the area. So it's not a surprise that it would come into other clans or other tribes. I've learned so much about that. And it's because of the medicine wheel that all of those tribes belong to, that we need to return that land back to the original intention of the indigenous in the respect of Mother Earth and on the holy ground that it has, and to clear the darkness away from it. And even those who might have a lineage of the indigenous, those First Nation people, that, of course, as you said, has been taken away from them because so many were not allowed to practice, were taken from their families. They still have problems with that today up there, where children are taken from their parents for one reason or another. And the hardest part for me is to watch how decimated all of the people up there have been as a result of the horribleness of the way our government treated the Native Americans 150 years ago, and the way they were killing them out, because it's just, you can't take them away from their home planet and expect for them to survive. And unfortunately, there's such prejudice that, well, they should just be able to get over it. Well, you know, you've moved them from one planet to another, and you've given them no tools, and you've given them a lot of hostility and prejudice. And it's amazing that they're coming back in the ways they are. I'm very proud of those people who feel called to stand up against the pipeline and all the horrible stuff that has happened to them over the years, and prejudice, because they're not considered first-class people. But it's not so much addressing that in this conversation as we heal the land of the sorrow and that sacred hoop that was torn. I'm reminded of Black Elk, who was beautifully interviewed over a period of time in the 1930s by a writer. I can't remember his name right now, but he is very famous for writing the Black Elk stories. And Black Elk was a young boy when Wounded Knee happened, and he said even then he knew that the sacred hoop, which is their circle of life, had been broken irrevocably. He was afraid. And I feel that, of course, that's the way he saw it before his passing, but I feel there have been many, many people who have gone back to that sacred hoop, and that's what we're doing now, is we're healing the sacred hoop, is we're cleansing the palette of that darkness, that we are reweaving the web of life. And that's the most important part of this, is that we are reweaving, we are integrating a new paradigm, a new grid of love and forgiveness and strength, and a new frequency and sound which cannot be destroyed ever again.
We have a caller calling in from the 562. Let's go to that caller, Jeanne, and see what they bring to us today. Hello, caller.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, my name's Connie. Hi, Jeanne.
Hey, hi, how are you, Connie?
I'm good. I'm so happy that to hear you guys speak. I'm like in total shock. Everything that he's talking about, that's what I've been feeling. You know that I am Native American, and I am very, very, I see things, I can predict so much. I don't know how to handle most of the stuff that I see.
And that's why you're coming to me. Connie, tell them your lineage.
My what? I didn't hear you.
Your lineage, Sitting Bull, right? Great-granddaughter?
Yes, great-great-great-granddaughter. Yes, I'm a Choctaw. I'm Choctaw Indian. Yes, from Oklahoma, from on my father's. Yeah, from my mom's side. And I asked my family members about that. Thank you. About why was I acting like this? And ever since I met Jeanne, I've been stronger in what I am now. And Shiro and Jenny, they're healers and seers, and it's something incredible that I see. But at the same time, I wish I had a button I could switch it off.
Hey, boy, do I know what you're talking about.
I can't even walk into a store. I can't even walk into a store. And my boyfriend tells me, stop, put those antennas away. I said, I can't. I mean, it's scary sometimes. I mean, it's really scary because I see things I don't want to see. And I'm like, oh, God, I got to go tell them. And I go tell them, and they're like, who are you? I go, never mind, some crazy lady you met. But, I mean, it's just scary. And Jeanne has opened a lot of doors for me, and I thank you for this. Really, really from the bottom of my heart. Because I can feel people, I can see people. I don't know what I'm going through, but it's something that I need to get more information on and work on. And Jenny has guided me a lot.
Yes. Well, and Connie, awesome. I welcome you calling in, because I think there are other people who might be listening to this who have had similar experiences, and there is a training involved to learn how to use your skills in a way that is most productive, and be able to know when to listen to certain input and when to place it in a certain way. But it's always about managing it with love and with grace, and really touching in with the sacred and the spirits that are guiding us to help us with our gifts. And that's the other part of it, is really feeling comfortable and safe in that relationship with the unseen world as well as the seen world, for sure.
Yeah, because people that I speak to, they tell me, you give me such peace, and I'm like, really? I did that? I mean, it shocks me. It shocks me that I speak, and I don't know who's talking to me and who's showing me how to speak like this, but people have praised me and tell me, you know what, Connie, you this, you that, you give me this peace. Now they call me the angel with the crooked halo.
I agree.
That's what they call me, that my horns are holding my halo.
Your horns are holding your halo. For you, what is it that you feel that you're connected to do to the land with the indigenous energy that you carry and hold?
Oh, spirits and God, of course. I always have this because I feel it myself. It's something like I feel pure. I feel, I don't know, sometimes I walk around like if I can float, and I know I can't float. I'm too fat. But the thing is that it's just a thing about, I mean, it's just something that makes me feel good. And when I'm speaking to these people and they turn around and they tell me, you know what, Connie, you're so good at what you're doing. And I'm like, really? And then I say things that only they know with the dead person. And then I'm like, I did that? And then I see pictures and I draw and I show them, is this what? And they're like, oh, wow. How did you know that? I don't know. I mean, I'm in total craziness right now in my life. I try, and then they come back and they tell me, you know what, Connie? You gave me such peace. My life turned around because of you. And I'm like, I did that? But it's just that I don't know what to do. But it's good. It's a good feeling, and I'm glad and I'm thankful that God gave me this gift. Very thankful. I've helped a lot of people.
I love hearing that because, when I started out, it's been about 5 years, I had no idea what I was doing. But I knew that it wasn't my place to ask, for me personally, it wasn't my place to ask questions about what I was doing. I knew that I was supposed to be doing what I was doing without question. And I still feel like that today, even more so. Somebody comes into where I work to ask for help, and I'm looking at them, and I'm asking them questions about their emotional state and their health, and I I'm told to ask these questions. So,
Exactly.
and what happens
That's
is
me.
they get a healing standing in the middle of a grocery store, and I get to be a part of it. And I'm so
Exactly. Yes, I do that all the time. Nobody wants to take me nowhere. My sons are like, Mom, get over here. And I'm like, wait, that lady had a real bad experience. Mom, get over here. I mean, they don't let me out of their sight. My boyfriend walked away. From me. I'll see you in a little bit. I'll talk to you in a little while. And then he sees these people crying. He goes, you made her cry too? I said, it wasn't my fault. Her dead mother came. So it's crazy because I thought I was weird. I thought since I was 5 I could see stuff, and I didn't know what it was. And then I told my ex-husband, one day I woke up and I looked at him. I said, you're going to leave me for a younger woman? He goes, shut up, you're crazy. 3 years later, sucker left me for a younger woman. So I've been seeing and calling things, and I didn't know what it was. Now I know who I am and why God put me on this earth and why I've been put on this earth to put a little bit of peace and love and happiness in people's lives.
Wow.
That's the truth, Connie. It takes all of us in our own ways, with our own gifts and our own specialities, to be able to bring a connection to the universe, for people to understand that this is not all that there is, that there's a worlds on worlds and lifetimes on lifetimes and so many things that are around, and to be comforted in that consciousness, to know that we are safe and we are loved, and that our loved ones really are very close to us all the time and never really leave us. They're just always right there. And
Exactly. But at the same time, I've lost a couple of people, friends and family friends, that they found out who I was, and they start talking and calling me witch and gypsy, and I'm like, okay, fine, that's cool.
Yeah.
Just tell them thank you.
That's what I said. Yeah. So I'm like, sure, I'm crazy, and I'm a witch, and I'm a gypsy, and they make fun of me that I have a crystal ball, and I said, yeah, if you keep on messing with me, I'm going to turn you into a frog and put you in the middle of the ocean.
Well, I'm so glad that you called in, and is there anything, Connie, that you feel you would like to hear from me or Anthony that we haven't touched on yet?
I want to be a witch person. Now, did you see me a billionaire or something, famous on the news or something?
Connie, you sound like you're already a rich person.
I am. I'm very blessed. Very blessed. Good children, good people. I have a good life. I'm not rich, but I'm okay. I got beans on the stove, and I'm cool.
You know what? I want to thank you for calling in and enriching me today, enriching the
Thank you, Jeanne. You're marvelous. I mean, she's fantastic. I can't say enough. So thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, and I want to contact you later. I'll get your contact information from Jeanne.
Sure. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Lots of blessings and lots of light to both of you.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you for calling in. Wow. 713-955-0332 is a call-in number. Push 1 to get out of listen mode. And today my special guest is Jeanne Love. I refer to her as friend, teacher, master shaman, and as mentor as well, because there's so much that you Jeanne, it's just like, it's so overwhelming sometimes when I leave your home. When I come to your house and I leave there, I'm like, man, I'm excited. I don't even notice there's traffic.
Oh, that's scary. We've been saying about that. There was a great Steve Martin movie with Lily Tomlin many years ago called All of Me. And it was about her character dying and coming back into this pretty young thing. And so the guru was there with his singing bowl, and so it was always back in bowl, meaning the consciousness back in bowl. So I will say to a lot of my clients as they leave, back in bowl, make sure you're back in bowl, referring to being back in your body and grounded, because when you do this kind of expansion work, you don't always want to come back in your body and feel yourself fully or completely. So anyway, there's a lot of fun in this work as well as a lot of intensity. but we always need to continue to be able to laugh. And there are many, many spirits on the other side that kind of push themselves into our field of energy from time to time to remind us to go lightly. And as serious as things are, I know, Anthony, you and I had talked the other day about helping people understand how to manage the energy that's going on at this time. And certainly humor and laughter is very, very important. It doesn't mean we laugh at the transition that the world is going through in a kind of a darker, unloving way. But it means that at times when things get so chaotic and crazy, all you got to do is laugh. You have to laugh, because what else can you do? And it's always need to keep that humor and lightness going. Like Connie said, I'll see you later, Mom. Come over here. Get over here. So, it's kind of, because we still are a world divided in terms of how we see the other world and our view of heaven and what we're going to meet and what we're going to greet when we pass. So it's interesting. Anyway, enough about that. What else should we talk about, Anthony? What kind of enlightening words need to come out of our mouths today for our listeners?
Right. It's interesting. I was up in Ojai Sunday, and it was just such a brilliant, and I didn't go up there for any specific reason. I went up to see some friends and to spend some time quietly, and just I was around people that I didn't know, just on the street, in the farmer's market, up on a mount meditation mount where everybody was talking. So I left. And I was reminded that I needed to be by myself and be inside, not with others chit-chatting. And on the way home, I experienced something, and it was such a beautiful day, and I was really surprised that I saw this. And I was over near the Ojai Foundation. It's a straightaway where the Highway 150 just straightens out. And I used to ride that road a lot of times on my motorcycle. In fact, just up the street from where I had this experience, I stalled at one point a few years back when I was riding. And there was when I was in the town, I heard the emergency vehicles head east and go that way, and I didn't pay much attention. I figured, maybe a car accident or something. But as I drove by on my way home back to Los Angeles, I realized that the emergency workers were still there, and there was a young man who he drove his motorcycle, I guess accidentally, into a rock wall, and it stayed with me in a way that I just felt that really deeply after my day in Ojai. And it's like when we experience stuff like this, what do we do? And you can tell somebody, well, you go inside, pray, meditate, but an imagery like that just doesn't leave. And was it for me to see? Was it purposeful that I was supposed to see that image right there, right then? And how is it that we can go ahead?
I'm so glad you brought that up, because you know what? And this is for many of our listeners that I know are friends of mine. You were brought to that point in time so you could help that young man over, and you still have him with you, Anthony. He has not left your energy field. And so for those who are listening or listen to this later, I'm always interestingly surprised when people say, well, I prayed for that person. Well, absolutely. But some people, when there's a sudden or traumatic leaving of the body, like a motorcycle accident or a heart attack or something like that, or murder, for heaven's sake, they don't necessarily leave their area, or they latch onto the light source thinking that's heaven. And you, of course, would look like heaven to him because of your light source and where you've been. And you picked him up, and he's been sitting not quite knowing what to do. So with all the love that we have as listeners, and as you and I participating on the phone, I want to open up a beautiful portal for him with gratitude that he stayed with you, and for you to be blessed for your participation in this, Anthony, as we ask this young man to go over to the light. It's kind of like one of those movie moments like in Ghost with Patrick Swayze, and have this individual finally be able to go to the other side. And boy, do I feel that leaving right now. Wow. Whew. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So that's why you were put right there, so that you could help this young man not become a wandering soul, that he could find his way over light and on his parts. And I bet you already feel the shift as we've just done this.
Yeah, I even the light in this room changed as you were talking right now. Wow. Wow,
yeah,
and I didn't, go ahead.
I was going to say a lot of stories like that. One, when my daughter who passed, when she was still in her physical body and was living in Tucson because she was going to the University of Arizona, she called me one morning on her way to work, and she said, "Oh, my God, Mom, there was a motorcycle accident right in front of me. It was on a back road somewhere, and the emergency crews hadn't even gotten there yet, and he was lying on the ground, and she could tell that he had passed." And I said, "We'll help him over, Kylene." She goes, I'm not doing that, Mom. This one's for you. But she called me at work. She says, I just let you know, Mom, it's your job. She's always finding dead people for me, and the humor in that is that she's been over to the other side. She's still finding me people that I need to help over, and I love it. So it's just that participation, and it's, it could be hard for some people. For me, it's very therapeutic to be able to be of service, and it helps to balance out all the heavy energy work that we do in clearing dark places, and there can be so many dark opening portals and spots that are randomly opened and not shut, and that's where all the negative energy can fly in and through and attach to people and cause chaos, and that's a whole day seminar. But when I get to be able to do this, which I know I can do easily and safely and quickly, I feel the presence of service when I'm doing that in that activity. Because you think of all the many souls who have passed. I mean, I've done a lot of rescue work with aircraft that have gone down, and I don't do all of them. I only do the ones that I'm led to do. And I remember with the situation at Sandy Hook Elementary School, I was led to help all those children over because I used to be an elementary school teacher. And there's a lot of interesting information out there about subversive cultures and the Illuminati and other trends of government that are hidden and everything. And there was a rumor floating amongst some that shooting never happened, that it was just all a ruse to create a trauma around wanting to control gun situations more or on either side of that argument. But I said to this person, a dear friend of mine, I said, I helped those children over. It couldn't possibly have been a ruse. It could not possibly have been staged. I know the difference energetically, to help them back into the world of light. It may have been an episode that was created, but it was an actual event, whether it was created with purpose or it was random. And it's interesting because you can't fake that stuff. It's too intense.
Yeah,
anyway,
you can't fake a lost child or a missing limb or any of that stuff that happens around our world, and people want to say, well, that really didn't happen. It was staged. Well, there's those who will tell you different. I have taken to when I have we both have a lot of friends, and whenever somebody passes. Whether I know them or not, I always want to honor my friends and family by going. I always go out into the wilderness and drum and rattle and burn sage and offer tobacco, and to help them. And it's for me, it's my way of helping them cross over and being released from from walking, hanging out here, if you will. I'll say it that way. And and I always get a sense of peace when I do that. And I always get to see. There's always a symbolic gesture, with regard to my brothers and sisters of the air that fly. Whenever I'm singing out there and they appear, it's like I already know. That soul is soaring and that soul is transcending and crossing over in a good way, and it's always shown to me, and I'm so appreciative of the balance of just being able to. notice nature. Notice those things, because we, as a culture, we just kind of like, that's just a bird. That's just a this. That's just a, we try to figure out a way to write it off, and we just don't write it off. It's once we have the understanding and the awareness, it becomes such a beautiful thing to be able to experience it.
Absolutely. And you bring up the point, Anthony, that we do a lot of learning how to bring babies into the world and getting ready for that, but we still, as a nation, have a disregard, not necessarily individually, but collectively, for the passage from the body over to the other world. And the process of grieving and honoring is often cut short or dismissed. And it's imperative that become part of our culture, that we do have our own wailing wall, no pun intended, for those who have passed. They still are inextricably woven within the fabric of our consciousness. And to deny that and to push them away hurts us both, because they've just changed shape into a new field of energy and love and light, and we need to honor that new relationship. When my daughter first passed, I was so grief-stricken that she would always say to me, "Mom, I'm right here. I just don't have my body, but I'm right here." And I think that if I had a goal for us as Americans, et cetera, or anybody in the world, is that we would honor the passage as a new presence in our lives, just in a different way, and to be able to be fully supported as much as possible in learning how to deal with the loss and learning how to be in the newness of it. I think there's so many gifts in that, and I think that you're being able to go into the wilderness and pray and be with the land and nature is powerful.
Yeah, and I know when I've I don't tell people I'm going to do it. I always let them know that I've done it after I do it, because I'm going to do what I'm going to do anyway. And it doesn't matter what theological path they're on. They are always grateful and thankful for that. And it's such a moving experience. They don't know how to say thank you sometimes, because they're just so overwhelmed by the fact that somebody would actually do that, because like you said, nobody thinks about that. In Catholicism, there's a lot of ceremony around that with incense and holy water and things, and rosary, saying the rosary, and that sort of thing, and that tradition I think is so important, because it's the gathering of the collective consciousness that gathers to say thank you, goodbye, thank you, I love you, the Ho'oponopono, if you will. Wow, that was a transition.
Absolutely, wow. Well, it's interesting, because when you talk about ceremony, and we're talking about ceremony, one of the things that my daughter who's passed says to myself and to my wonderful team at times when we're talking about work that we've done, and then we all kind of collectively say together, "Oh, we feel a ceremony coming on." And I think it's really important, because we need to do more ceremony. And there's a difference between ceremony and ritual. There could be the ritual of ceremony if we want to play with words, but ceremony is important. It's a step and back and reminding ourselves, taking a deep breath, connecting, honoring, feeling that real connection to that I am spirit, that sacred energy. And just to make it a very brief segue into the energies that are going around the world right now, what is needed is unity, not necessarily in doing it this way or that way, but the unified field of consciousness which sets itself directly in the line of love and God and light. Because when the chaotic energies are flourishing, as they are right now, trying to divide us so that we can be conquered, it's vital that we take a stand, whether we want to do that physically and do whatever we want to do, but spiritually, emotionally, mentally, we need to take a stand within ourselves as to who we want to be and where our center is. And I blame this wonderful philosophy and practice on my Quaker roots, because they were very simplistic, and we were a programmed meeting, which meant we looked like a regular church rather than the unprogrammed, which doesn't. So we had a choir and we had a beautiful pipe organ, and we had service and we had a minister, but we always had this 10-minute time period called communion after the manner of friends. And we would sit and be and let ourselves be filled with spirit. And sometimes we were led to say something, and sometimes we weren't. And as a child growing up in this, I had no idea how wonderful this was for me later on, and realizing I could meditate, I could listen to God. But it kept not only opened that door for me, it kept it open for me because I was trained to do that. It was what was expected, to go within and be quiet. And too often we're not letting ourselves understand that that's the first thing we need to do. And so in a case of emergency, the Quakers pray. But it isn't a prayer of, dear God, please help us. It's that centering, going in and finding that space of balance and then being active. And I think that's, if there's any message today with all the beautiful things that have been shared, for us to be able to handle ourselves in the world right now, it's vital that we find a place where it is sacred to us, even for 5 minutes, where we sit in that sacredness, we sit in that quietness, we still the mind as best as we can, quiet our fears, and become one with that sacred divine energy, practicing that. When we practice calling it in daily, it's like any habit. It becomes so strong in us that we have it when we most need it. I could never have gotten through the tragedies in my life without it. And so I know it works because it's helped me through huge amounts of stuff. So in terms of today, that would be the way I would be sharing the ability to manage the daily weird world as it is right now.
The daily weird world. You know, you said in the manner of friends. Did you say that?
Yes.
Okay. You know what I heard? And I'm always thinking about being fed and feeding each other spiritually. I heard in the manna of friends.
Oh. I love it though. It really works.
Yes, and you know what's funny is that when I heard that, I saw Emma's face, my other teacher who was on last week, because we do that with words constantly. You know, and we find the double meaning or just changing a letter changes it for us because it has so much. There's so much meaning behind it. You know, as soon as you said that, I was stuck on the word manna.
But that's great because that's what we're bringing in. Words are words, but the intention is to bring that wonderful energy in. The manna of friends, the manna from heaven, that quiet, integral part of our being that's woven in our fabric of consciousness that has been often disconnected, battered, abused, tortured, discounted.
Oh, boy.
Lifetime over lifetime, and we really can unite in consciousnness. When I was in Switzerland in 1989, exactly at the time the Berlin Wall went down, and I was at a it was a Psi conference, a healing conference. 1,600 people from all over the world attended, and I went in as a guest speaker at the last moment. What a blessing! Because we were hearing hourly from people who lived in and around Berlin. They were calling their relatives who were at the conference, telling them what was going on with the wall and the people going and mixing. And we would sit spontaneously in meditation with 100, 200, 300 people at a time in our groups and see that presence of that justice being served, of that wholeness being restored. And it never leaves me in terms of the power that we all have within ourselves to step into that circle of life and heal the sacred hoop. That's really the strongest part of that, is to heal the sacred hoop by stepping in and contributing. We are all in this web of life. We are all part of the nurturing of this earth garden. Each one of us can plant seeds and has. It's a matter for us to plant the seeds that will grow corn, as you would say, and bring about an immense change of consciousness where we honor each other. We're not trying to make every person be us. We are recognizing the individuality, but honoring that beautiful color or that beautiful fabric. There's a wonderful song in the Unity Church called Weave Us Together. We're all instruments of the same orchestra, but we're playing our own symphony and harmony. We're weaving the tapestry with our different energies and ourselves. It's a beautiful, beautiful song, and very powerful. Needing to think of ourselves as the web of life and weaving our beautiful essence in and out and through each other to create this elegant new consciousness of the divine. It doesn't mean we're going to stop things in terms of our learning abilities. This is a learning planet, but it gives us the opportunity to bring this planet back on balance and on task rather than it being taken over by the chaos. There's no learning when all you're trying to do is survive. It's been punitive here too long. Now it's time to bring it back into a learning area and a learning place and an activity where we can work through things. And this is a crossroads for us, and that's one of the biggest reasons I know why my daughter had to leave, because the information that she has shared with me and the people in my group has been monumental. She has done her best work, and she always said, Mom, you know I do my best work out of my body. And I have to say that as hard as it was to let go of her, she's the only reason I am where I am now. I mean, besides the fact I have an amazing group of friends and family, but in terms of the teaching that she brought to us has been profound. So there.
Well, Jeanne, I know that you do a lot of events around town. And do you have anything coming up that you can talk about? We're coming into the end of the show, and I wanted to talk about what it is you do, some of what you do, and if you have an event coming up, I'd like you to let us know what that is, so our listeners can come out and see you, get to meet you.
Absolutely. Actually, I don't have anything right now because the biggest event we have is my daughter's getting married in 2 weeks, so that's really taken precedence over event planning. We'll be having stuff in the spring, small group spirit circles, meditations. I'm always available for personal counseling to do deep healing work or to communicate with your loved ones. I also have students that I teach these modalities to, and hopefully with the thing we haven't touched on today with the dodecahedron energies that I'm learning about, it's all about the sound healing and the new sound codes that are coming into the world environment to upgrade everything. So that will be on my website. My website is going to be upgraded in a little bit, and it's jeannelove.org, and it's all lowercase. Also, I'm on Facebook as Jeanne Love, and my phone number is 562-714-7503, or you can contact me at Mystic Jeanne at yahoo.com, and it's MISTIC. So those are all the ways to get a hold of me.
Wow. I'm ladies and gentlemen, we've been listening to Jeanne Love, friend, teacher, master shaman, and just wow. I'm so honored and proud to be able to call you friend and teacher. And I want to thank you for joining us today and joining our universal audience, because this show goes out around the world, and there are people who find us in the strange, I find that they find me in the strangest places, and I'm glad for it. I'm happy for it. But I'm glad that we got to share you today. And I want to thank you for coming, and I look forward to, coming to your events and being with you soon. And I want to thank you again. I hope.
A hope to you, my dear friend, and I'm looking forward to lots of fun together, because I think you and I will probably do some crazy things as well, and that'll be even more wonderful. So thank you so much, Anthony, and thank you to Tiffany for making this available. I look forward to a continued and bright future. Thank you.
You have a great day, and thank you for coming.
And thanks to all who are listening.
All righty.
All righty.
Bye-bye. This is Anthony Rodriguez, Walking Crow, and that was our special guest, Jeanne Love. This is the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show. You can reach me at area code 818-442-1717 or through my email at anthony@sacreddrummedicine.com. You can also find me on my website at sacredmedicine24.weebly.com. You can reach out to me and get a 20-minute free consultation. And if you feel that you need an energy healing, a chakra clearing or balancing, whether it's with the drum or energy healing, let me know, and you can reach out to me at those places for that. I'd like to thank my producer, Tiffany White, Sage Woman, and for her loving care with this show and all the shows that she produces on her network, Goldilocks Productions. You can find this show in the archives. If you didn't get to catch it at 1 o'clock, feel free to go into the archives, and I'll be posting that archive link a little later today, or if it's not already posted. Once again, my name is Anthony Rodriguez, Walking Crow, and this has been the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show. We look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern Time, and I bid you a good day. I hope.